What if I told you there was a way to unlock the meaning of any unseen poem in less than 5 minutes? Hi there, I'm Giles Goff. I'm a writer and a recovering English teacher, and today we're looking at unseen poetry and the technique I use to get my students to get to grips with any unseen poem, whatever it is, whether they like poetry or not. So today we're going to be looking at applying SMILE to unseen poetry. SMILE is an acronym which means each letter represents a particular word. You'll have seen this, teachers have done this over and over, and this is the one that really works for me when it comes to unseen poetry. So first thing I'd like you to do, copy this down in the margin, okay? S-M-I-L-E. And the first letter stands for structure, then it's mood, imagery, language, and effectiveness. And what I want you to do is I want you to treat this like different steps that you can take while analysing a poem, something you can go through one at a time. You start off with structure and go all the way through and end in effectiveness. Another way I want you to think about this is if you've watched any crime shows, any kind of detective shows, there's a body that turns up and then the senior investigating officer turns up and he looks out, and what's the first thing they do? Does he look out and go, well, clearly this person was killed because their sister-in-law battered them to death because they were trying to get their money from their mother? No, none of that happens. That's why they might end up, but none of that happens initially. What happens is they record things. They measure what's there, okay? And that's what we do with the structure. So the structure, just look at it and just tell me what you see. Count how many stanzas are in it. How many lines per stanza? How many syllables per line? Does it rhyme? If so, what is the rhyme scheme? If it doesn't rhyme, what's going on there? Is it blank verse or free verse? We'll get into this in some more detail another time, but blank verse is iambic pentameter that doesn't rhyme. Free verse is poetry that basically just doesn't have any rules. You can have any set number of lines, any set number of syllables laid out however you want. It's a more modern style. Blank verse you'll tend to see with more kind of Shakespearean stuff and more pre-1914 type of poetry. Then let's talk about the mood. Mood is a tricky one to sort of pin down. How does this poem make you feel is a good one to ask yourself. Now, I'll be honest, if you are a teenage boy who hates poetry, this will be a difficult question to answer because you'll be like, nothing, it makes me feel nothing. So, okay, fine. How does this poem want you to feel? Look for clues. What makes you think that it makes you want to feel like this? Treat it, if you like a flowchart, all right? Ask yourself, is this a happy poem or a sad poem? Is it dealing with the past or the present? Is it a love poem or not? Is it sad or angry? Is it excited or calm? Is it distraught or is it melancholy? So the way I sort of break those down, distraught would be dealing with a pain that's happening to you right now. Melancholy is when you're dealing with a pain that's happened a long time ago. You still feel that pain, but you've got to go on with your daily life. You've got to sort of look like a functioning human being, basically. Let's talk about imagery. So imagery is simply what pictures are painted in your head. What are they trying to make you think of? That's all it is. It's dead simple. And what techniques do they use to do this? So that would be what kind of language techniques they're using to paint these images. Another question might be, what are the obvious and the not so obvious images? So for example, in a poem called War Photographer, you might expect an image of war and photography. The title is giving you some clues as to what it's going to be about, but you're not going to expect talking about a priest intoning mass. So those are the not so obvious images. And poetry is all about being able to combine the obvious and the not so obvious to make it interesting like that. Then language. Now, you kind of know where you are with this. So what words stand out? What poetic techniques jump out at you? So when I talk about poetic techniques, I'm talking about things like similes, hyperbole, alliteration, metaphor, personification, all the things that your teachers will have drummed into you relentlessly. Is there any enjambment or any caesuras? Now, if you don't know what this is, enjambment is when a sentence runs over 2 or more lines. So it kind of flows, it keeps going. And a caesura is when there's a break in the middle of a line. So it could be a comma, a dash, a hyphen, a full stop, whatever sort of breaks, has a sentence end in the middle of a line. That's what it is. And lastly, effectiveness. What does the poet want you to think or feel? And here's the fun bit. Are they successful in doing that? Is it memorable? Is it easy to understand? You've got to remember that you don't have to like all the poems in your cluster. A lot of them I really like, but there's one or two that I find really, really terrible. And it's okay if you don't like them either. Just say why you don't like them and go into some detail on that point, and you'll be absolutely fine. So the very last task I have for you is I want you to find a poem. And now any poem, it could be online or in a book. If it's online, type in a random combination of things like woman, Welsh, poem, see what turns up. Or if you're looking for books, you could sometimes find books in your library or maybe even at home, like poetry anthologies or poems for a day, nation's favourite poems, that sort of thing. Have a look at them and apply smile to them. See if you can break it down and find something interesting to say about the poem by breaking it down like this. And the reason why this is important is with poetry, so much of the time, it is not just about what is being said. It's about the way it's being said. Okay? If you wanted to just communicate something clearly and to the point, you would just write it in prose. You would write it down as a letter. There's something about the structure that is appealing to the poet and they think will be appealing to you in some way, shape or form. So don't forget and don't neglect the way a poem is laid out. If you have any requests of any videos you would like me to cover, you let me know and I'll get right on it. I hope this proves useful for you and I look forward to seeing it in your essays. In the meantime, if you could give me a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.